Hi, I'm Joe Hammeke, and on this episode of In Focus, I'm going to teach you about HyperSync. What HyperSync is shooting photos with flash at a shutter speed higher than your camera's rated sync speed. What is your camera's rated sync speed and why? Most professional DSLRs are rated at 2/50th of a second for their sync speed. And what happens at 250th of a second and slower is the shutter opens like such. Opens all the way, then the top blade comes down. So at this point, 2/50th of a second, the entire frame is visible, and when your flash fires, it covers the entire frame. At shutter speeds higher than 2/50th of a second, it does a drag through. So your bottom shutter blade starts going, and then at partway through, the top one starts coming down and then catches up. Depending when the flash fires, it's not going to cover the entire frame. So say we're at 500th of a second, the flash fires, it's going to cover this to here. This part up here is going to be black or not hit by the flash. This part down here will not be hit by the flash. But there are certain situations in which that is acceptable and we can work with it. Right here is such an example. As the shutter blade came down, flash fired, all we needed was the flash to be up in this part because the rest of the scene was lit by the sun. So the equipment you're going to need to shoot HyperSync is a flash, a remote, and a transmitter. This is the Pocket Wizard Plus 2. It's a basic transmitter. It's also a receiver. It will work, but very limited with HyperSync, but you can make it happen. I'm going to show you how to do that. But also, Pocket Wizard came out with a new one, the Mini TT1, and this is specifically designed for HyperSync. You set it up with the help of your computer to optimize it to your camera. I'm going to show you how to do that and show you the difference between the two. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to set up our Mini TT1 with here on the computer. As with any piece of camera equipment or electronics, you should read their owner's manual fairly thoroughly so you have an understanding of how the thing works, how the setup goes, etc. But here we go. We're going to plug it in. Just uses a standard USB wire. And up comes the setup menu. We're going to set up configuration for channel 1 here. We're going to go to HyperSync because that's what we're dealing with today. We're going to go HyperSync only and manual HyperSync for standard channels. And what manual HyperSync for standard channels here does is allows you to set the HyperSync offset. We're going to drag this down to the 200, and what this does is it moves your black band as far to the bottom as possible, and that is what makes the Pocket Wizard Mini TT1 more effective for HyperSync than the original Plus 2. We're going to apply the changes. Click yes. You're going to wait. And once the changes are applied, we're good. This screen will come up. There's no warnings, nothing saying waiting. We can go ahead and unplug this because we're all set up. Okay, since you're going to be shooting at a higher than your camera's recommended sync speed with a flash, you need to make sure that your camera's flash settings are set appropriately. Your camera might have something that prevents it from shooting at higher than its recommended sync speed so that you don't screw up. So what we need to do is go in, and this is the Nikon D700. I'm going to presume you read your owner's manuals and know how your camera setup goes. Can't explain all the different cameras out there, but here's how it works on the D700. You go into the menu. We're going to go down to this one, which has the flash controls. We're going to go over to flash sync speed, and it comes defaulted sync speed 1250S. We need to switch that to 1250S Auto FP. Auto FP stands for it'll automatically let you shoot focal plane shutter. We're not going to get into explaining that, but in a nutshell, it allows you to shoot with a flash mounted on the camera at any shutter speed, not just 2/50th and below. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you, just by shooting off this blue wall here, what kind of coverage you get at different shutter speeds, starting with your camera's recommended sync speed all the way up to 1,000th of a second. First off, I'm going to show you what the Pocket Wizard Plus 2 gets you. And here we are at 2/50th of a second. As you can see, full coverage, no black bands, because the shutter opened all the way, came down, good to go. We're going to change it to 3/20th of a second. Notice we got a little black band coming in there. Go up to 400th of a second. As you can see, that black band is rising. We're going to put the Pocket Wizard +2 to 500th of a second. And we're coming up greater than half. You're still getting effective flash coverage in the top third, maybe a little more than the top third of the frame, if you're shooting HyperSync with the Pocket Wizard +2. Now we're going to show you Pocket Wizard Mini TT1, which we just set up in the computer, optimized to shoot at HyperSync settings. Go ahead and plug this guy on. Set our camera to the camera's manufacturer's sync speed of 2/50th. Oh, shot 2. Notice we get full coverage, just like we did with the +2. We're going to go up to 3/20th. Still full coverage. 400th of a second. There we're getting that black band, but it's not coming in as fast. Now we're up to 500. Still, the black band's creeping in a little more, but if you remember when we had the +2, our black band at 500th of a second was all the way up to here. So let's see how far we can go and still get a usable amount of flash coverage in our frame. So we're going to go up to 6/40th of a second. Now we're approaching the halfway mark. 800th of a second. Now 800th of a second with the Mini TT1 is getting you about the same coverage as you're getting at 500th of a second with the +2. We're going to go to 1,000th of a second. And we still got a little room, but it's going to be hard to keep the skater up in that part of the frame. It'll work in certain situations, and we'll talk about that when we get out in the field. So here's a photo I shot with Clint Walker. This photo right here is no flash. Like, it's pretty well lit, but he's a little dark. Not too bad, but it's always nice to put a flash in there to make him pop. This was shot at 1/1000th of a second. So what I ended up doing is putting a flash over here, changing it down to 800th of a second. He pops a little better. The flash is only going to cover the top part of the frame. Since he's still up there, it's not a problem. Everything else is already lit by the sun. If we were to try to light this entirely with flash, we're going to be fighting the sun. Our flashes are going to be in the frame. This is a big set of stairs. It's going to be real hard to light him nice and have the flashes outside the frame. Now that we got a basic understanding of HyperSync, we're going to come out here to Tempe Park. We're going to set up. We're going to test it out in the field.
And then later on, I kind of just put it together like somebody must have pissed in it